Due to the graphic nature of its content, listener discretion is advised.
From the halls of Montezuma to the shores of Tripoli, we fight our country's battles in the air, on land and sea. First to fight for...
On this episode of Cigars and Sea Stories, Jocelyn, Tim, Mike sit down with frontman to Madison Rising, Mr. Dave Bray. Dave, it is so great having you on the show, brother. We are huge fans of the band.
It's good to be here, man. I noticed you did not mention Bennett. Does that mean I cross him off the list now, or what's the deal with that?
We're saying he's just under the weather.
Oh, straight line through Bennett's name then. Okay, so I got Tim, I got Michael, and I got Sebastian, right?
A firm.
Yes, sir.
Cool, nice. Well, good to be here, guys. Thanks for having me and Madison Rising, and appreciate your support, man. What do you guys want to talk about?
Hell yes.
Well, first thing,
Fucking
I
rock
have
and
to
roll,
thank
man.
you because we are using the amazing rendition of the Marines hymn for our intro, and thank you guys for allowing us to do that. It's perfect. It really is. And I think I spliced together a really good cut to put in the beginning and the end from what you guys sent us. So thank you truly for that.
No doubt, man. We're usually pretty lenient with our music just because nine times out of 10, the people that are using it to, for a positive purpose, positive reasons, doing something either patriotic or pro-military, pro-veteran. So we are really lenient to the cause of, people needing that kind of stuff. And the Marines hymn is one of my favorites. Is one of the ones that was fun to do. We love playing it live because there's always at least one freaking Marine somewhere in the audience.
Yut.
And, yutting it out. And it's really cool, man. It's definitely bringing new light, and that's what we do. We've sort of given all these old songs like America the Beautiful, the Star Spangled Banner, the Marines hymn, God Bless America. We're giving them a fresh coat of paint for the new patriots that are coming up through the ranks, and kids are gravitating towards it, but so are the old heads, and it's good, man. It's good stuff.
Hell yes.
Dude, it's fantastic. Absolutely. I got to be careful, though, when I listen to Open Road, because I'll throw that on the earbuds and then, hop on the Harley, and it's like you're looking down doing 110. You're freaking out. I'm telling you, man, that song gets me amped. I'm ready to rock.
It's a good one. I think we're going to release that as our new single coming out in the new year. We haven't really pushed a single wholeheartedly off the record quite yet. And coming out of the Christmas, I don't know if you guys have ever heard Soldier's Christmas or not, but we're going to push Soldier's Christmas and the Soldier's Christmas video coming up in November through December, obviously, till after Christmas and the New Year's. And then coming out in the New Year's, man, getting ready for bike season, man, getting the chains and everything ready to go and getting the bikes back on the road. We think we're going to push Open Road and hopefully get some really cool biker events in the spring.
Yeah, man.
Right
That's
on.
awesome.
Yeah,
Well, definitely let us know when those things are coming out, and we'll blast it out to everybody that listens to us.
Yeah, we'd love to get together in the Raleigh area, especially with all the bikers in and around this area. I mean, it's insane.
We're often. I think we did North Carolina maybe 6 times last year, so we're down there. I mean, there's so much. As far as the military base is already down there, but just in general, it's a good populous patriots down there. They're digging the Madison Rising vibe for sure.
Hell yes. So, all right, I gotta ask Mr. Dave Bray, what is the origin here of Madison Rising?
Well, the actual name itself comes from James Madison. We were looking for something kind of patriotic, something that embraced the Constitution, sort of the way that when men and women stood together in this country, and during that time, when it was basically the second Revolutionary War against the English, we had a little bit of peace for a certain amount of time, but it was guarded by redcoats, and they were still very much inhabiting our country. And the men and women of America, after Boston, they came back. The English came back for round 2, and they burned their way up through the Chesapeake. They burned Washington. Washington's in flame. They came all the way up to Baltimore, got to the Inner Harbor there at Fort McHenry. And that's where the American people took their stand, and they beat down the world's largest navy from one little tiny fort on one little tiny area. And, the hand of God was at work, but also, the patriots of this nation, they stood together, the men, the women, the children, the blacks, the whites, everybody, all the different religions, they came together because they knew, man, that was the last stand. If we lost there, they were floating the whole way up, and they were going to take everything all the way up into Philadelphia, all the way through Baltimore, and they would have just conquered the East Coast altogether. So, for us to be a nation that stands tall, stands proud, stands together, whether we're civilians, whether we're armed veterans, whether we're non-armed veterans or non-armed civilians, or whether we are, the militias or the actual true fighters in this country that are wearing the uniform. It's important that we remember, a little bit about our history, and we wanted to bring that back. So James Madison was the guy who was in office when all this was going down, the Second Revolutionary War, War of 1812, and the writing of the Star-Spangled Banner, and finally our victory against pure tyranny from the king. And I thought it was really cool to bring that back and sort of bring it back. Madison's ghost rising, bringing back what Madison stood for. He's also the author of Constitution, Federalist Papers, and Bill of Rights. So, I mean, what better dude to kind of craft and name your patriotic rock band after?
I got a freedom boner just now.
Oh, my God. Huge freedom boner.
Dude, can I stand at ease now? I've been standing at attention for like the last couple of minutes. I got a Constitution boner.
So we should mention to our listening audience out here that Dave Bray is a fellow veteran. You are a FMF corpsman, are you not?
Yes, served with 2nd Battalion, 2nd Marines out of Camp Swampy down there in Louisiana.
Dude,
Lejeune.
That's
Lejeune. Yeah.
Sometimes you learn there, and sometimes you don't. But man, I tell you what, you can keep the chiggers and the sand fleas, buddy. I'm all good on them for a while.
Right? Oh, dude,
I didn't want to come here anyway, and I still call it Lejeune. But I had some dude walk up to me in a restaurant, some old freaking Vietnam era dude, and I'm having lunch with my family out on the Outer Banks at Hatteras. This guy walks in and he goes, "Yeah, well, so where are you from?" I said, "Well, I live down at Camp Lejeune." "You mean Lejeune?" Lejeune?
That's funny. I guess the R is not only silent but is invisible, or I don't know, it's something like that.
Right.
Yeah, it's not there.
See, I like Frenching it up, giving it that Lejeune. You know what I mean? Just got to be soft with it. So
never trust the French, though, man. Come on.
Exactly.
Unless you're bartering for their wine in the battlefield somewhere.
Right.
Or
you need their armada to help you out with the first revolution, in which case, we got them kick-started, so it's all good.
That's true, yeah. It's you scratch our backs, we scratch yours, and then you forget that we were even friends. That's something like that.
So you were with 2-2. What platoon were you in?
I was with State Platoon, 2nd Battalion.
Nice.
Warlord, yeah, got to throw it out there. So I was H&S Company with Stay. I was with a lot of my guys are getting out, but I still got one last remaining freedom fighter Marine that I served with is in. He's Sergeant Major right now, Sergeant Major Roger Griffith. He's actually down outside of Lejeune. He's actually taking the helm of the 22nd MEU, and they're working up. So he's going to be the Sergeant Major of the 22nd MEU going out.
Wow.
Nice. Yeah. Nice. I got people in hot places now. Don't mess with me now.
Oh God, that's awesome.
I asked him. I said I showed him a coin. I met. Oh my God, Sergeant Major Overstreet.
Oh, okay.
Sergeant Major Marine Corps. Yeah, number 12, I think. Number 13. I can't remember which number.
Yeah, it's back in like the mid '80s.
Yeah. So I work alongside as an ambassador for the Young Marine Program. Which is a national youth organization, and I work along guys like Sergeant Major Overstreet, Gunny Ermy, just a couple other really, really good patriots, Scott Levy, the guy named Animal Mother from Full Metal Jacket. I don't know if you remember him.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I know who you're
talking about. He's slipping me right now, but he's also in Destroyer now, or one of the shows, Last Ship or something like that. Anyway, another actor, and just some really good dudes. And, we're ambassadors for the Young Marine Program, but along the way we met him, and I was just bringing up. I showed Sergeant Major Griffith, which was he was a sergeant when I was serving with him on the sniper teams, and he said, I said, "When are you going to be Sergeant Major Marine Corps?" He says, "Too much politics and too much Washington D.C. for this country, boy." I said, "I don't blame him." He's like, "I've put about all I can into this Corps." He's like, "They'll get the best of what they can get out of me yet, and then I'll be done." But he says he wants nothing to do with the politics of being that rank and that person of the highest ranking enlisted person in the Marines for sure.
Right. Jesus, can you blame him?
I can't. Not in this day and age. Not with this administration. Jeez.
Ugh, it's killing me inside.
That's some rarefied air they're breathing up there.
Yeah, I'm not sure what air they're breathing in D.C. We haven't figured that out yet.
Well, it's the bubble. It's just holding
like
in all the noxious fumes from the Beltway. That's what it is.
It is horrible. Yeah. I don't even like being in that that city. And you know what? I was down there last week for Roger Waters' Music Corps program, and they have a lot of the amputee veterans and wounded veterans in the band with Roger Waters from Pink Floyd, and they have Rage Against the Machine, Tom Morello. They have the singer from Smashing Pumpkins, Billy Corrigan. Sheryl Crow works with them, and they put on a really amazing show. I can't say enough. I befriended Tim Donnelly, Corporal Tim Donnelly. He's a double amputee. He was wounded by an IED. I've been friends with him now for a little bit, and we actually put on a concert a couple of weeks ago up in Allentown to raise money for his functioning home. So basically a smart home for him to be able to function a little better as a double amputee. Obviously it's difficult. Life is difficult enough. If we can help this kid get a better home to be more self-sufficient, the more the better for him. So we helped him and a couple other really great groups, Warrior Riders and a couple other guys, put together a decent amount of cash for him to get his home started up. So after meeting him, he told me about his Music Corps experience that he has with Music Corps, Roger Waters, Pink Floyd, The Wall, for crying out loud. I mean, some of these names are just absolutely amazing.
Oh, yeah, out of this world.
Yeah, absolutely. The best in the business. And it's like, I'd like to invite you and your wife down to D.C. for the Music Corps thing. And I'm thinking, okay, these guys are going to get up and do their deal. It's going to be pretty good. And, but it was absolutely freaking amazing. I mean, these guys, they have little interviews in between the songs, and they introduce some of the guys that are in the band. And, some of the stuff they were talking about was like, you're stuck in Walter Reed. You're feeling shitty. You don't want to be there. Nobody wants to be there. And then, the people that do come to, like, hang out and help, they're there for, like, an hour or two, and they, you hang out with them, and it's a good time, and then the rest of the time they're just gone. Some people stop in, but what Music Corps has done for, just, for instance, Walter Reed and some of these guys who are, some are double, triple amputees, getting them on an instrument, getting them into a program where they can make strides and put that military mind, that dedication, that willingness to learn, that willingness to strive, and the willingness to fight, to learn something like music. And it's really given them a lot of hope. And I can't say enough about Music Corps. I mean, not only was the show amazing and was the talent amazing, by the wounded veterans, but just in general for what they're doing for these guys, I think it's really, really special. So I was really blown away by that.
Fantastic.
That's cool, man. That sounds like a great program.
It really does, because it's cool that so many great names are coming collectively to not just help out in the whole Spirit of Things event. You know what I mean? It's not just this is a heartwarming thing. It really does create positive, effective change and good, solid impact. That's something needs to be said about that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
When we were downrange, one of the biggest things that we always said is don't put like an Afghan face on it. I mean, that holds true nowadays. If you're going to be, don't just put a face on it. Hey, thanks for your service. What are you talking about? Like, how did you even, oh yeah, I saw your veteran cap or your bumper sticker or whatever. There's that face value of things. You can tell that these individuals coming together and working with the other veterans and stuff, it's something of substance, and
right.
That matters.
Yeah, getting your hands dirty, man. That's what it counts for.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, we can all be keyboard patriots. I say this a lot of times. There's a lot of people out there on the front lines. In the sort of the circle of what we do, Concerned Veterans for America is the program that we tour with. We've been touring with them for the last 3 years. And this is a group of patriots that are getting their hands dirty, comprised of veterans, started by veterans. The people on the tour are absolutely amazing. Obviously Madison Rising plays the show, gives the rock value, but some of the speakers, Karen Vaughn, Navy SEAL, Gold Star mother, lost her son Aaron Vaughn in Extortion 17, the helicopter crash that was ill-prepared and basically unfit to travel into a war zone with special forces people, and it was the largest special forces loss in history, I believe. But Extortion 17, she lost her son. Her and her husband, Billy, they wrote a really great book called Betrayed. I highly recommend it. If you're out there in the book market, if you're a reader, go read that book, Betrayed, by Billy Vaughn and Karen Vaughn. It's really, really amazing. Can't say enough about her. She gives an amazing speech, when we're on the tour. We have Sean Parnell. He's a Army captain, Ranger. He had a Ranger deployment called the Outlaw Platoon, who, set a precedent for being just the gnarliest group of freaking Rangers out there downrange that were not taking the high ground all the time. They just fought and fought and fought and fought till the end because they never wanted to come home defeated. They either figured, either we don't come home or, we come home victors. And the Outlaw Platoon is a really, really great book by Sean Parnell. It's a #1 New York Times bestseller. So if you guys are writing these down, these are awesome books. We get some really other great guys, Navy SEAL, Lieutenant, Jason Redmond. All these guys are like really, really good people, not just authors, but he's got a really great book about his story. It's called Trident. And after meeting, Red, it's been a couple years now since I've known him, and our families have hung out together and we've chilled. And he's just a great all-around dude. And everyone on the tour is absolutely genuine. We're not afraid to put the time into the travel and making it all happen. I think we did 30, 40 cities or something last year. We're up to do that again this year.
Wow.
It's a lot of work, a lot of time away from the families, and most of us are family guys, so it's tricky. On top of that, we have Ayla Brown, who is a up-and-coming Nashville music star. She's absolutely amazing. She does one of the greatest versions a cappella of the Star Spangled Banner that you are ever going to hear in your life. I'm not saying that to be like whatever, but I mean, Whitney Houston, watch out, because this chick's got the pipes to knock that song out of the ballpark, literally. And she does. She was actually the 76ers, the Philadelphia 76ers. She was the national anthem girl for that traveling basketball team for like a year and a half when she was like 18 or 19 years old. I don't know. But anyway, amazing talent. She's also a country star. She's got a really great record out called Let Love In. Can't say enough about Ayla. And just in general, the overall tour, the volunteers, the staff, the amount of people that actually work to make these events successful, unbelievable with Concerned Veterans for America. And if you guys have pen and paper, again, write down Concerned Veterans for America. Check us out. Like us on Facebook. We're doing big things. We're getting legislation passed for veterans. Guys no longer have to wait 12 weeks for an MRI. They can go to a private hospital, so they don't have to go through the VA anymore. If there's going to be a long waiting list, they can opt to go to a private hospitals. And it's just some really great legislation is being passed in the name of veterans, but also in the name of patriotism and our Constitution. It's good stuff coming from the CVA.
Yeah,
man. I'm looking at their website right now. It looks pretty cool. I'm looking at their issue priorities, talking about giving veterans healthcare choice and holding the VA accountable, reforming the DoD with all the out-of-control spending, articulate a clear national security strategy. Yeah, I mean, these are things that I think we can probably all rally behind,
Well, yeah.
Stuff that pretty much matters to the military veteran community.
Right. I mean, one of their mottos is, hey, whether you served in wartime, peacetime, whether it was Vietnam or before or after, a lot of us, we come home and we feel like, okay, well, we've done our time. We've served our country. It's time for me to, sort of pack away the seed bag, throw the boots in the closet and forget about it. But the truth is, man, we still swore an oath to the Constitution that we still have to uphold it. None of us de-oath when we get out.
Right.
DD 214 does not mean you de-oathed out of the military. You are still upholding and serving that Constitution, whether you like it or not. And that's one of the things that, the CVA stands for. All we want is the veterans' voice to be heard, whether it be to the VA, the DOD, Washington, D.C. We just want the veteran voice to be a voice that stands together and is heard. And it's doing it, man. It's making leaps and strides, man. I can't say enough about Concerned Veterans for America.
Yeah.
So I'm checking out the very last point on this issue priorities page. It says increasing civic and political participation among veterans, and I mean that's kind of my role here on the Cigars and Sea Stories team is talking about civics and civic duty and participation in the process and stuff like that. So yeah, that's right up my alley, man. I mean, that's a great mission.
Excellent. I hope to see you guys out at some CVA shows. I'm sure we'll be down in North Carolina for sure.
Oh,
yeah.
Absolutely. They're in a heartbeat. Well, I don't know if you recall this, but at the national conference, one of the coolest things I have to say, maybe this is because I'm a dork, you guys invited us up on stage in order to sing the Marines hymn. And that was just really cool. That was just it.
And I was there right next to Michael, and yes, it was awesome. And yes, Michael, you are a dork, but you know what? That was freaking awesome, dude. I still have these starstruck memories of standing on stage with Madison Rising and my buddy Michael, belting out the freaking Marines hymn. It was pretty badass.
Heck yeah, man. Well, I mean, that's what
I'm a star.
I'm a star. When I was young and I was going to shows, like I would buy the crappiest seats I possibly could, and then I would slither and snake and slide my way to the front row. It didn't matter what venue it was.
Oh, you're that guy.
Didn't matter how many times I was thrown out, kicked out. I would find ways back in. I mean, I was people thought I was dressed like a goth kid. I was actually dressed like basically an urban assault guy. You know what I mean? They're like,
Right.
that guy's got kind of an interesting look. Is he gothed out? No, his face is just blacked out, and he's trying to, he's trying to get to the front. And I can remember numerous shows down in, I don't know if you're familiar with Camden Yards, but those guys are brutal back there. But I remember a show in Camden Yards there. I got kicked out like 3 times from the pit area. And then another time I threw my wife into the pit area, and then she went in and like reconned a bracelet off of somebody's wrist for me, came back out. I mean, this was legitimate like warfare. This is concert warfare. Another time I was at a Deftones concert at the House of Blues in, I want to say it was Myrtle Beach or Charlotte or somewhere. But I jumped off a kid's back and I launched like 6 feet across the area between the stage and the fence. And I grabbed onto a monitor, and security grabbed me by my belt loops and started yanking me down. Well, I got my hands on the monitor, so I'm not going anywhere. I got cords and cables wrapped around my arms. They get my pants down around my ankles, so I'm butt naked, getting dragged off of. And finally, the singer from Deftones, Chino, comes up and he's like, "Let him go, let him go." So I drag myself up onto the stage, and I'm completely sweated out. I'm pretty sure my lip was bloody. My arms are bleeding out of the elbows. And I pull my pants back up, and I put my hands up in the air, and like the whole place went nuts. And I went back about 10 feet, went 10 feet back, gave Chino a hug, and I got a full-on run into this. Planted a foot right on the monitor and just launched into a mosh pit. But one of those fond concert memories of of being a young, crazy kid,
Nice. So here's the big question: when you launched, did they catch you?
Yeah, man, dude. You kidding me? Back in the day, this wasn't a One Direction concert, man. This was Deftones, brother. I mean,
Right.
There was already blood on the streets, if you know what I mean.
One who?
Hell yes, dude. That's fantastic. Uh-oh. I can hear an echo. Sorry, every once in a while when you get an echo on here, that makes Justin's job that much harder, and this dude does amazing work.
Well, I'm with you. I'm not an echo fan either. When I get the echo, I can't hear myself think.
Right? It's like talking into the squawk box.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
You know what I'm saying? It's like blade. Wait a minute. What? Blade? What? I can. Yeah.
All right, speaking of squawk boxes, Doc, I'm sure that, well, I hope you don't mind me calling you Doc.
Yeah, Dave Bray. How long's it been since you've been called Doc?
I still get Marines that call me Doc. I got friends that have,
Nice.
that they've been out for a while. They still call me Doc. I got a really good friend, Marine friend of mine, John Z. He shoots with the Zombie Shooter Association. If you guys are down in North Carolina, you need to write this down. I know I'm making you guys work today. Zombie Shooter Association, ZSA. And my buddy John Z, he put it together. He basically created a tactical game. Basically, he sets up structure, he sets up different maneuvers that you have to go through, different phases, different courses, different distances, different guns, and then you score it all as like 5 different heats or 5 different segments or 9 different segments. And it's really cool. If you guys are into shooting, it's a fun way to learn a little or hone your skills and just the way they score it, headshots, chest shots, certain ones you can't shoot, certain ones you can, certain ones you have to hit in the head, and it's all moving. So it's pretty neat. You run through a couple different shoot houses, you run through, you're on a school bus and you're shooting out of a school bus. You're shooting under vehicles, over things. It's neat. It's not just range shooting. It's pretty cool. So Zombie Shooter Association, if you got people in North Carolina listening to you down there, I got to give a shout out to the ZSA and John Z. Man, make sure you check him. If you tell him you know Dave Bray, he'll probably give you a huge discount. So just go check him.
Or he'll double charge me. I mean, it depends. Did you give him Motrin and tell him to change his socks? Be honest with me. Did you punch his boar? Come on.
But hey, listen, the last thing I gave John was a sheepskin motorcycle seat cover for his bike because we got a great sheepskin shop up here, and they have like these motorcycle seat covers that are like the thickest sheepskin you can possibly get. I don't know what grade it is, but it's about 3.5 inches of just thick sheep wool. And I've had them before on bikes, and they're very comfortable. So yeah, man. So I got him one of those last time he came up, and he hooks me up in the same regard with other stuff. He's a good guy, and he also runs Zombie Shooter Association. So give him a look out when you're in North Carolina. He's a North Carolina boy too.
Killer.
Nice.
No, that's amazing. And also for the listeners, we're going to have links to all of this stuff that we're chatting about. You know, we've got the books down and Zombie Shooters Association as well. We'll make sure to add, it's cv4.org, correct? Concerned Veterans for America?
Yeah, that's one of the sites. If they want to find out the tour dates, I believe it's defendfreedomtour.com. It's either cv4a.org or defendfreedomtour.com. But again, if you just go to their Facebook page, you can find all their stuff and message them. There's people, so many people are working with that organization right now. If you want to volunteer time, whether it's an hour a week, they'll put you in the right path. And the stuff that they have you doing is not like boring ass crap. It's really, really cool stuff. You're actually reaching out. You're actually doing something. And that's one of the things that I've always had problems with, different organizations that ask for help. And then you go there, you show up, and they're like, what can I do? They're like, well, there's some boxes out back that need to be broken down. I'm like, what?
Put your T-shirt on and stand there and look pretty.
Yeah, I want to get involved. I'll do the boxes, but let's put a little thought. And then you got people coming down here. You know, the CVA is the real deal. And if you can, I don't know if you can or not, but you should probably link up Madison Rising. That would be awesome.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Well, if you go to cigarsandseastories.com/Madison Rising, you guys are on our community page.
Killer.
Because it's like, okay, yeah, sure, we can thank you publicly for allowing us to use your music and theme song and stuff, but we want to support your music. I mean, that's why we reached out and wanted to have your music on the show, because we love you guys.
Well, honestly,
yeah, man.
Yeah, let me be honest, man. That has been our foundation, and our groundwork our framework comes from, you know, just small orgs, grassroots people that really understand what Madison Rising is doing. We're not just a rock band. You know, yes, we play rock music and we have, you know, rock songs, but we're not just a rock band. I mean, when we go to shows, we go to events, we want to meet the people in that community. We want to find out what that community wants, what it needs, how, if we can help it better next time. We want to find out who the people are that are showing up to our shows. Some of the stories that I've heard from people that are at my shows. Hey, I drove 6.5 hours here. I did this. You know, I was with this group. I was a Navy SEAL for 12 years. I'm just like, you know, and you're at a Madison Rising show, and you're amongst friends. You know what I mean? You're amongst like-minded, patriotic people who care about their country. And it's always neat to watch people that know nothing about each other all standing and enjoying not only a show, but coming together for a common good and a common cause, standing shoulder to shoulder as Americans. Because something that this country has forgotten about is the fact that we need to learn and remember about who our neighbors are, who are the people in our communities, who are the ones that are doing good, who are the ones that are doing bad, and how can we help the ones that are doing bad by taking the ones that are doing good and putting them together and putting them to work. And it's one of the things that Madison Rising, I think, does best, is bringing communities together and having people stand up for that common idea, whether it be for 2 hours a night or whether they come and they leave and they say, that was great, you know, forget about it the next day. But most of them end up recircling back, and they either join in with Madison Rising by liking us on Facebook, or they circle back to me, Dave Bray, Madison Rising, or they go to the Madison Rising Militia. And, you know, they get involved. And it's a family. It really is. People need help. These groups, they come together. You know, I just recently had a passing in my family. My stepfather passed away. He died of cancer after battling. It's all right. 6 months. You know, he went from being fine, and before we knew it, he was gone. And now we have an extra property in the family now that we need to get rid of. And, you know, I posted it on my page, and then, you know, instantly somebody from the Madison Rising Militia was like, do you want me to post it over there? I'll post it, no problem. You know, that's an extra 2,000 plus people that got to see that. And I don't know if it'll sell or not, but, you know, that's just the kind of people that circle around Madison Rising. We just have a really, really good family-friendly bond that is people of all ages. You know, we have young kids all the way up to 80-year-old, you know, old men and old women that come to our shows. And it's a cross-section of America. It's something that is bringing people together, and we need more of the things that do that instead of the things that are tearing us apart in this nation.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, one of the things that you know, just in my daily life, I wouldn't be on Facebook if it weren't for working with Cigars and Sea Stories and some nonprofit stuff I do. But because I'm on there, you know, I'm looking at different things on Facebook, and I'm responding to people's posts and whatever. And one of the things I've noticed over the last couple of years is there's no such thing as civil discourse in this country anymore. it's gone. You know, the ability to speak intelligently from being informed about, you know, the real facts, and to do it in such a way that, you know, you're not, you know, just trying to rip each other to shreds because someone has a differing opinion from yours. That ability is gone. And there's just a handful of people around, you know, guys like you and I like to think myself and a few others that are trying to be the voice of reason and just say, look, we might think that this over here is absolutely destructive and a bad policy, bad politics, a bad politician, whatever. But for us as Americans who aren't actual politicians, we need to talk about this stuff. Just because we don't agree, and you may like that politician over there and I may not, but we're never going to fix anything if all we do is tear each other down and fight about it. We have to find the common ground, like, hey, we're Americans. Oh yeah, no shit, huh? You know, and then we can start talking about stuff. But people just want to tear each other down and hide behind their freaking keyboards all the time. It's ridiculous.
I think what you, Dave, were hitting on a few minutes ago is kind of one of the keys that we all need to highlight as often as possible when we see it, is community and that sense of coming together, even if you don't happen to fully agree with people. I mean, we need to present that example, you know, as veterans, as men, and I say men in the people term, not as males, but anyways. We have to be the example that we want to see in the world. We have to provide that in whatever capacity that we can. And to see that happening and to hear about these great communities, and I mean, I count myself fortunate. We get to experience guys like you all the time in what we do, and we're trying to go around and highlight these different endeavors, because the way I see it is we're not going to win by jumping in that same arena and playing that he said, she said game that everyone's doing, that Tim's talking about. We're going to win by presenting an alternate truth. You know, do it right, do it well, do it together. Screw this divisiveness that we have, even though it's so convenient and so, you know, it scratches that itch that we all have, that fear that is mongered on television by, unfortunately, politics as a whole. So we need to present the alternate to that. Sorry, I don't mean to rant, but
No, I think you're right. I think what you're getting back down to is the fact that somebody's got to be a bigger person here and step up, or some group's got to be the bigger group and step up and quit playing the back and forth game that politics brings us into, and says, you know what, I'm going to lead by example here, and I'm going to do what's right just morally. And I think, again, that gets back to what Concerned Veterans for America is doing. Let's all come together under one common umbrella and say, okay, what do we all have in common? Here's a group of people, a cross-section of America, again, of all races, all religions, all creeds, all backgrounds, and they've all done one thing. And that one thing is that they've served this country. They've all sworn an oath. They've all gone through, quote-unquote, basic training. And that basic training is a unifier. Whether you did 4 years or 28 years or 30 years, everybody did basic, all of us. So as a veteran, if you're a veteran of foreign wars or a veteran of peacetime, or whether you're just, you did half of your tour or whatever and were unenlisted or get kicked out or whatever, most of the time you did at least the basic training. And that basic training taught you some pretty important stuff. And some of the stuff in there gets broken down is, hey, teamwork. Listen, you're not an I anymore. It's a we thing, and that's something that we need to sort of come together on. As veterans, we got to look past. We have to look past the whole political landscape and say to ourselves, okay, listen, let us create the voice that is being heard. Let us create the dialogue, and let us control in which direction things are being headed for veterans, instead of a bunch of people in Washington who are pushing buttons, moving money, and making things happen, and 9 times out of 10, it's not in the greater good for anybody, let alone the veterans. So as vets, I think it's important that at least first things first, everybody come and sit around the table. Say, hey, yeah, you're right. I did. You know what? I did serve my country. I do still have an obligation to the Constitution and to the citizens, and I'm here. I'm here. My voice is here. I want my opinion to be heard. I want people to understand where I stand. I want things to change for the young kids coming back that are busted up from war, and that's what CVA is about. But it's also what I think a lot of these organizations are about, or think they're about, and what they forget they're about, because things like money and politics get involved. And I think you're right. We need to put politics aside, get back to what we all stood for in the beginning when we were mostly young men and women, and come together under those same moral virtues.
Yeah, absolutely.
Gotta love it. Dave Bray, Madison Rising, adding value to the world. Hey, brother, I love putting people on the spot.
No.
Do you happen to have a sea story from a deployment or something along those lines that
there's got to be something.
There's got to be.
A corpsman with a stay platoon.
I know you had some herpaganosyphilitis going on or something.
I don't want to say that I didn't really exist. I don't think I mustered for 6 months overseas with anyone. I played the I'm not in the Navy, I'm not in the Marine Corps card pretty hard. So it depended. I birthed with the Marines, so the Navy instantly just said, I basically declined their air conditioning and their coffin bunks, and I said, you know what, I'll berth with my Marines that I serve with. So I'll be down with the JP5 smell, and we'll be rerouting all the air conditioning from the O-decks down here, and that kind of stuff. So, for the 6 months that I was overseas, we started out our med. We did joint services in Trieste, Italy. We did stopped in Rota, Spain, stopped in Malta, and then basically we got called off to go to Africa, Northern Africa, and that's where Operation Assured Response was going down, and we basically went in as embassy support and humanitarian aid. And if you look up Operation Assured Response, it was 96, 97, 98 or something like that. I can't remember. I think it was 96, 97. Anyway, long story short, we put guys in on the embassy, which is what we should have done in Benghazi, obviously, but whatever.
Right.
That's fucking water under the bridge. Nothing to be done about it, but hopefully somebody thanks for that. Well,
hopefully someone doesn't become a president, for fuck's sake.
Jesus
right.
Christ.
So anyway, I did not want to go there on this conversation. So we went in and yeah, we showed force around the embassy, and it wasn't like we were dealing with radical Islam or anything like that. I mean, it was basically two clans or, somewhat of a clan plus a government going head to head, but they were battling in the streets, and it was coming close enough to the embassy that, they didn't want it to get escalated and have it turn, into a situation. So they put the Marines there, and that's where we posted up for, I don't know, it was 80 some days or something like that. And I was in and out all throughout that point in time, and I had a couple different spots, but one of the spots I was at was the nearest airport to Sierra Leone, which was in a little place called Lungi, Africa, which was like basically a small grass hut town. It had a hotel, and it had an airport, and then it had nothing but little sort of grass huts. And one of the stories was we wanted to go to Sierra Leone, so we took a few Marines and went over to Sierra Leone. You had to take a ferry. Well, one of the guys decided that he was supposed to be a quote-unquote translator / helper / guide. So we took some guys over, and he brought us back, and he's like, can I crash here? There's no ferry till the morning. And we were skeptical, but we were in hotel rooms, and we were like, yeah, man, crash, no big deal. We wake up the next morning and a bunch of gear's gone, and I'm not going to say what piece of my gear was gone, but it was a very important piece of gear, and one that I would wear on my right leg. So
oh shit!
Shitty.
Yeah. So I wake up, ghost white. I grab the Marines, and I'm just like, dude, he's heading for the ferry. Somebody's got to come with me. They're like, go get the truck. So I get in the truck, and the truck power. I blew the power steering out. I'm running down these goat roads at about 90 miles an hour in this big Chevy truck. I'm by myself at this point in time, and it's about 8 or 9 miles down the road to get to the ferry. And he had made it to the ferry. He had breached past the turnstiles. And I just ran up, and I was like, United States Marines! And I jumped past the turnstiles. There's these little dudes they're holding AKs. They could have mowed me down if they wanted to.
Right.
But at that point in time, I was too worried about the consequences if I had lost that weapon. So I was like, all right, well, it's going down like this. So I jumped out. No, I didn't have any Marines with me. So I jumped out of the vehicle, jumped over the turnstile, and there he was, swaggering down to the freaking ferry. He was maybe 20 yards away, and I tackled his ass, ripped his bag off his back. These guards come around. They got me, like, dead to rights. I'm like, thief, thief. And I opened up his bag. I dumped out a bunch of mags, a bunch of shit, and, of course, there was my lovely Beretta laying there, and I was like, motherfucking A. I was so close to just racking one and popping him and putting him out of his misery, but then I didn't have to because the people there, they just started jumping on him and fucking pounding him. So that was his
local justice.
Fun day. Yeah.
That's sweet.
There was other stuff too, but you know what I mean? To keep it light.
So those guys probably thought that you had a whole platoon like right on your heels or something.
I have no idea.
That.
I have no idea. All I know is that I came barrel assing. That was for sure. Like when I pulled in there, it was. They didn't know really what to think, and I screamed at them. I was like, "Please don't shoot me!" I just jumped the turnstiles, yelled "United States Marines," and everybody seemed cool with it. So,
right, you'll be good. It's okay.
Yeah.
I'm a Marine.
So there's that story. You know, on another lighter note, when we were in town, we used to run. Our Marines used to run every morning, and you're basically out in the jungle there. And there was a little bay that came up, and every morning the fishermen would drag the nets out. These nets are like, I don't know, probably maybe a mile long. They drag these nets out on these canoes, and then they drop them, and then in the mornings they lift them up, and then whatever had swam into the bay they would bring in with them, and then, you know, it would take them almost all afternoon to get these nets in. And one morning I was like, I got to get some Marines down here for you guys, and we're going to knock this out for you. So we ended up taking, 8-10 Marines down there from State Platoon. We all ran down, and dude, like they're whatever you call it, fish line of manufacturing fish, because as soon as they get there, they're getting thrown in baskets and they're breaking off spines and stuff off the sea creatures, and anything that's poisonous gets thrown in one pile, and everything that needs to be killed immediately gets thrown. It's like it's a whole, production line. So
right, yeah.
You got 10 Marines down there, 5 on each side of this net. This production line goes into overtime, and like kids from the village are running down, and they're like grabbing more baskets. They're screaming, "Oh, well, they fished up the net early that day, and we got pretty much the run of the village that night. They kind of celebrated it, and we sat around, we drank Star beer out of bathtubs. It was a good time, man. Another good story for you, a feel good story.
Hell yeah.
Beer out of bathtub.
No big whoop. Oh, dude, that's fantastic. Yeah, man, we always love getting a good solid sea story. I'm sure every veteran out there has a good solid sea story of their adventures abroad.
Adventures abroad, adventures with broads. I mean, we've heard it all on Cigars and Sea Stories at this point.
I am not going down that road, gentlemen.
Yeah.
Your old lady's like waiting.
I noticed on your website that you're going to be in Philadelphia playing on the birthday of our Corps.
Yeah, man, cookies. That celebration's been going on for years, man. If you ever want to go down to Cookies Tavern down in downtown Philly down there, we'll be down there for the Marine Corps birthday. It's gonna be awesome.
So for any civilian listeners or non-Marine listeners that don't know, obviously Philadelphia was the birthplace of our Corps. Little place called Tun Tavern. So go figure. The Marine Corps was born in a bar. And if my memory serves me right, I believe the spot that Tun Tavern stood on is now underneath an overpass for the freaking interstate or something like that now.
We got a placard. It's the most badass placard there is.
Yeah.
It is. I can confirm that there's an interstate running over where Tun Tavern was. And then they relocated it like a block and a half away, and then it burned down again. And
that's so sad, man. We should reroute the damn interstate and rebuild it.
I know guys that can get rid of that interstate very quickly.
There you go.
Not a big deal.
Nice.
No mafia ties whatsoever.
A little cleanup is going to be needed, but after that...
Right. Y'all blow the shit out of that freeway. I ain't picking it up, though.
Okay, so I'm checking out this defendfreedomtour.com website, and it looks really cool. And I'm scrolling through the names of some of these special guests that you have in different locations. And in Jacksonville, North Carolina, you got Lockwood Phillips. Do you remember him?
I can't put it. Face probably. What was his deal? I can't remember.
He's an older guy. He's a line officer in the Navy on board the USS Flint during Vietnam. But he's a radio personality here locally.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
East North Carolina.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, so I bring him up because I got interviewed by that guy a few months ago.
Get out.
Yeah, awesome. It was pretty awesome. When the American Sniper movie came out, he wanted somebody that was a sniper to kind of rebut all of the crap that was going on in the media about Chris Kyle, how he was, just liberal shrill about how he wasn't really all that in a bag of chips and how he loved killing too much or whatever and all this kind of crap. And I basically just kind of set it straight a little bit. But, Lockwood was a nice guy.
Well, we had Oliver North on the tour last year. We had Alan West on the tour last year.
Yeah.
Buck Sexton was on the tour last year. I'm not looking at it, but there's usually, oh, God dang. What's the guy's name from Dude You're Screwed? Master Chief, Terry
Terry Shepard.
Shepard,
Oh,
yes.
that's
I
an
was,
Army
I was
guy.
going to say shrapnel, but I knew that wasn't right. But Terry Shepard, he's a Green Beret guy. We've just had some really, really great personalities on the tour, and again, I cannot wait to get back out there. It's going to be awesome.
You guys are doing amazing things.
Thank you, appreciate that.
Honestly.
I genuinely do. It means a lot to be able to sit with you guys as well. I don't know when you guys served, but I was, obviously late '90s was my deal. I'm a lot older, I guess, than what people think I am, but.
Well, that's because you're up on there doing fucking high kicks and shit. You're like ramming all over the goddamn place.
Dude, I just got my brother sends me a video. He's 43. He sends me a video of him jumping off of one of those circular hay bales, doing a backflip. And I'm like, what the hell are you doing?
Nice.
You think I'm nuts? He's literally insane clinically.
I wish I could still do that.
I wish I could ever do that. Yeah, I'm not backflipping off a hay bale.
Well, I could have done it. I'm not saying I would have landed very well. I'm just, I could have done it.
He's probably doing it with.
Your
like,
training would
shit
kick in,
kickers
Tim,
on.
for the landing.
Yeah, Tim, you used to jump out of fucking airplanes for a living. I'm sure you're gonna be fine landing it off of a hay bale.
Hey, there's no parachutes with hay bales, right? It's a much more dangerous proposition, I think. I'm just guessing. I don't know.
It's like horse grenades and hand shoes.
Hand shoot, yeah.
Hand shoes and horse grenade.
Oh dear God. I know,
Yeah,
right?
so, hey, if you have not seen Madison Rising, so this whole thing about age and everything, freaking Dave Bray is the most energetic performer I think I've ever seen on a stage. The guy's freaking awesome. So definitely go to Madison Rising's website, check out their tour schedule, and you got to go see him perform because it's a freaking awesome live show.
You really do.
I've been lucky. I saw you guys at EBV in Syracuse at the Dinosaur Barbecue, and then I saw you again at NatCon in Atlanta. Yep. So the big question now is: are you going to NatCon in Charlotte?
I'm
I'm
defending freedom like a beast in February. So unless it's the 13th,
Defending freedom like a beast. Hell yeah. Well, and if all goes right, you guys would be playing the Super Bowl.
Oh, don't dangle that carrot in front of me. I don't sleep for like the 4 weeks before the Super Bowl, and it just because of this, every time it's like, oh, we're looking at it. You're one of the ones, maybe. I don't know. It's like, come on.
Get out there and push it, folks. Madison Rising to play halftime show.
Can you imagine, dude?
Dude.
All right, veteran voices out there, let's make this happen then.
Right, exactly. No one gives a shit about Katy Perry. We want to see Madison Rising rock out. Hell
Dude,
yes.
If all you did is your version of the national anthem, that would freaking rock the house.
Yeah.
I got to put on my boner pants for that one, though.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Can I just say something, by the way, without fluffing you guys or anything? You guys, like, on stage, your stage presence, I don't know what you want to call it, your banter and stuff like that. It blew me away, man, to be honest with you. You guys are... And it's not just the professionalism that comes out of playing, all of the time. Like, you guys really have just this comfort that's down amongst the musicians. And that puts your audience at ease and allows us, especially the guy who's like front row, sleeved out, Dino Bar, and everybody's like, hey, that's the white collar guy or whatever. Like, no, man, you have no idea. These guys rock. So... Yeah. I gotta give you credit where credit's due. You guys do very well. Your stage presence is there. I mean, this is from an amateur in the crowd, but I love it.
I mean, the thing about Madison Rising is we do such a broad spectrum of events, and I think that's where that comfortability comes from. I mean, we play for conference rooms filled with 1,200 people, and it's all suit and black tie, and we have to pull it off in a way that's not too brash or too harsh. And then there's other ones, we're down and dirty in some honky-tonk somewhere. It's a smoker, and you barely see the people 10 rows out. So it's like, there you can just get it as hard as you want. But in the middle, there's all these other little things, like little outdoor events, little one-off, Star-Spangled Banners for different corporations and big corporations. There's little acoustic shows and all these different sort of pieces that go towards learning your craft and honing your craft and being, like you said, as kind of as comfortable as you possibly can be, owning up to mistakes if you make them. If stuff isn't going the way you want it to go, and you try to take the time to adjust it. It was funny the other night when Roger Waters had it was the Washington D.C. Philharmonic first seat cellist, violin, viola, and standing upright bass. So he has all these first seat, people from the Philharmonic or whatever it was in D.C. Symphony. I don't know what it was, but he introduced him, and everybody's like, yeah, clapping along, and then so he's like, we wrote this song, and we've only rehearsed it one time. Well, they went through it, and he gets, I don't know, 30-some bars in, and he just pulls the plug. He's like, you know what? You guys are doing this in the wrong time signature. Stops the show in front of 3,000 to 5,000 people out in the audience, and everybody's just like, oh my gosh, Roger Waters just pointed a finger at like the best violinist, in the state in DC. And he's like, you guys are playing it in the wrong time signature. Let's pick this thing up a little bit. So they pick it up, and then halfway through the song, he's like, come on, I said pick it up. Well, G.G. Smith from the G.G. Smith and a Saturday Night Live band is on stage.
Right.
He runs over to him, and he's like banging his head, like trying to get him to pick the pace up. And you see these little, I don't want to say little girls, but they're very small, little petite women, and they're like shaking their heads, trying to keep up with G.G. Smith. It was really something to behold. I've never seen anything like it. I can't wait. I can't wait till I'm on that level where I get to like completely stop the show and like tell the. I mean, there's already 25 people on stage. There's 6 backup singers, a horn section. There's 3 drummers. There's 2 bass players, 4 guitar players, 3 singers, and this orchestrated piece. And he's the one. He just balls them out right there on the stage. Awesome.
A little momentary lesson from the master.
Yeah, exactly. He's like, you're not playing it in the right time signature. Yeah, and everybody, the crowd loved it, man. They loved it. Everybody's like, Roger, you crazy old son of a bitch. So, all right, guys. Well, hey, man, great talking to you. I hope you don't mind if I hop off.
No, it's been great.
I gotta get the kids to bed and
What?
Yeah, man, gotta get the boys down.
Well, thank you so much for coming on the show. We really appreciate it.
My pleasure.
Doc, you're welcome back anytime.
Hey, thank you very much. And you guys send your listeners. This is the last one I'll tell you to write down. Make sure you go to Madison Rising on Facebook, like the page. We got some good stuff coming out for the Christmas and holiday seasons.
Absolutely.
Make sure you go to MadisonRising.com. Just check out the stuff we have. You want to look for some cool swag. We got our new Crusader Shield Madison Rising Militia shirt, which is really cool. Across it says Madison, and then down it says Rising, which is really cool. So pick up one of the Crusader Cross T-shirts. They're great gifts for your friends, patriots, any of your brothers and sisters that you may have served with. Get them a red CD.
Yes.
All our T-shirts are made in America. All our CDs are pressed in Philadelphia. All the patches are sewn at my neighbor's house, and all the T-shirts are printed at my neighbor's house. So we do it all in house. Yeah, we're a one-stop shop, and we're doing it all by ourselves. We're working as hard as we possibly can to live the American dream. I just want to say thanks for having us on, guys.
Yes, absolutely. Get yourself a red T-shirt, and you can rock it every Friday. That's what I do. I wear my Madison Rising red T-shirt to remember everyone deployed. Absolutely.
Right. Thank you so very much. Be well. God bless. Don't forget, stay the course. Finish the fight. Never surrender. I'll see you next time, guys.
Take care. Be well, brother. Hey, listeners out there in American Radio Land, if you're still tuned into us, go ahead. Make sure that you click subscribe on iTunes, Stitcher, or Player FM. Give us a rating. Give us a review. Give us your comments. They literally make the show. If you want to have Dave Bray on again, please give us a comment. I mean, I want to talk to the guy again. He's freaking awesome. So, thank you so much for joining us on another episode of Cigars and Sea Stories. Jocelyn, you know what to do.